All right. So I think we can get started with just some introductions. My name is Julia Wanlin. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm one of the psychology undergraduate advisors. And I'll pass it to Arturo to introduce himself.
Thank you so much, Julia. My name is Arturo Torres. I will be your representative today from the Global Learning Office. So I hope that I get to chat with you all today, share some really awesome information about the program and that's relevant to you all, of course. And we also have some really cool other resources for you that will come later in the presentation. It's nice to meet you all, and I'll turn it back over to Julia. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so on our agenda for today, we'll be discussing how to get started with the global learning process, financial planning while you're abroad, how and which GE and major requirements you can complete abroad, our global internship program, some other program highlights, and then we have River, a global learning alumni, who will be sharing about their experience studying abroad. And then we'll wrap up the presentation with a Q&A. So we ask that you just hold on to your questions until the end. If you have any questions related to like your personal academic plan and how studying abroad might work for you, I definitely recommend emailing us or scheduling an appointment so we can work on figuring that figuring that out with you one-on-one. And I'll pass it back to Arturo.
Thank you. So the next three slides are just going to have screenshots of our website, right? I just wanted to show you all just generally where you can start finding information. And like with all things, to begin learning and seeing what is possible through our office, you want to go to the globallearning.ucsc.edu website. But for now, right, we can look at this screenshot. And as you can see there, there's tons and tons of opportunity and tons of resources that you can look at for examples. Under the Get Started tab, if you can go to the next one there for me, Julia, thank you. You'll see that there's going to be some really good information about why students generally want to study abroad or generally just go through global learning opportunities. We also share information on how you can apply. As you can see on the screen there, you'll see that there are global seminars, partner programs, and I won't get too much in the weeds about what they are, but just know that they are the different types of programs that we offer here on campus. And they generally happen at various times of the year. For example, some happen in the summer, whereas some happen in the semester, year-long type of period. And the How to Apply tab, that is where you can learn how each varies in terms of application process. In addition to that, without getting too ahead of it, there's also resources on how to academic planning, which Julia will talk about in just a second. But there's also really cool resources, like if you wanted to know what other students in the same situations as you have done in the past. For example, we'll have students that have received scholarships because they're financial aid recipients, or maybe they are a particular ethnic group where it might resonate with you, right? Maybe we'll have a Latina student that's interested in going a particular part of the world. Well, maybe you want to hear from a student like yourself that resonates with you and you want to know what their experience was like. We also have really great resources for identities abroad, health and safety information, and of course, some additional resources that could be helpful to you wherever relevant in the planning process. Then, for the third slide, we'll just cover some of the more important components of this website is the Finances tab. This is going to be a fantastic resource for students that are generally wanting to understand what the cost of participation is. And what that means is what are all the costs associated with studying abroad, right? So tuition, of course, right? Tuition is part of the general study abroad experience. Campus fees are also part of that. But what else, right? There are things that you also want to account for, such as what is my flight going to cost? How am I going to feed myself when I'm abroad? How much should I be saving for that type of, budget item? Do I have to pay for transportation? All things come together. We want to help you look at this experience in a holistic view so that you better understand what the actual cost could be rather than what you see generally in your academic costs, right? So we help you do that. One really great resource that we offer in collaboration with the Financial Aid Office is something called the Financial Aid Estimate, which is that second option below that. The financial aid estimate is a really great resource that generally is meant for students that receive financial aid. So, for example, this is a program where you submit your SAI or study abroad index number. And by doing so, it'll generate a total amount of grant money or estimate of the grant money of how much you're expected to receive for the total cost of the program vis-a-vis, right? And you can use that as a point of information to better inform you on how much aid you're expected to receive. And if there's a really significant gap between that and the actual cost of the program, where you can make informed decisions on whether, oh yeah, I can apply to scholarships, maybe some extra loans or funding on the side, maybe I have savings, or if it's just too much to cover the difference, again, you have a significant withdrawal window where you can make that decision whether, hey, maybe I want to wait, save up for another time, or maybe this is not for me after all. And of course, you have that information to you so that you can make those decisions. And of course, just to quickly wrap it up, I know that we only have an hour here today. I want to make sure that we cover everything. We have tools for global learning. If you're a veteran student and receive GI benefits, CalVet benefits, we have some resources there for you as well, so that way you know that, hey, even though you fall within this type of student group, you're still able to access these opportunities to a certain extent. We have some scholarships as well for those that are financial aid recipients, for those that are not, for those that are going to particular regions of the world, for participating in other programs. Just know that there's tons and tons of financial opportunity and resources available to you. It's just when we start talking to you, just let us know that that's what you're looking for, and we can always steer you the right direction. And with that, again, I just wanted to give you a bird's eye view to our website. Of course, there's much, much more you can look at, but just wanted to at least cover those two main things that are really important as you get started. I'll pass it back to Julia.
All right, thank you. So next up, I'm going to discuss how you can satisfy GE and major requirements abroad. But I do want to preface this with that you may not need to satisfy GE or major requirements while you're abroad. Some students just choose to take courses for general credits that will count towards the 180 credits required to graduate. But that will all depend on your goals, what you want to get out of studying abroad, what requirements you might still have remaining when you're planning to graduate, and so on. So again, we recommend emailing us or meeting with us if you want to discuss your personal situation. And with that being said, if you do want to complete GE requirements abroad, you must complete a Committee on Courses of Instruction or CCI student petition. Instructions are linked on this site with their website and everything. It does take about 4 to 6 weeks for these petitions to be reviewed, so you do want to plan in advance. And if you have any questions about the process, you can email the CCI analyst at the email that's listed on the slide. And there's even more information on the Global Learning Academic Planning site that Arturo was talking about earlier. So there's a whole section about fulfilling GE requirements abroad. Now, switching over to major requirements, I'm going to start off with the major requirements that you cannot satisfy abroad. These include lower division major requirements, so anything numbered 1 through 99 at UCSC. Also, courses that are taken to satisfy our disciplinary communications or DC requirement, which are Psych 100 and your senior seminar, must be taken at UCSC no matter what. And lastly, for psychology majors specifically, you have to complete one upper division course from the developmental, cognitive, and social subfields at UCSC. Okay, so which major requirements can you take abroad? For both psychology and cognitive science majors, you're limited to taking 3 major requirements abroad. For psychology, that includes 2 of your additional psych courses from 2 different subfields and your upper division outside course. For the cognitive science major, you can take 2 upper division cognitive psych courses and 1 upper division interdisciplinary elective abroad. So now you may be wondering, how do I know which courses can satisfy these requirements? Well, the first thing that I would recommend doing is checking out our list of pre-approved courses, which include hundreds of courses from a bunch of different universities abroad that have been already approved to count towards the psychology and or cognitive science majors by our faculty. So here's a little screenshot of what it looks like. On the right-hand column, it will tell you which major requirement it can satisfy. So, for example, UD Out would be the upper division outside course for psychology majors. UD Cog would be a cognitive psych course, and so on. And then please just remember that these courses on this list are all of the courses that have ever been approved to count towards the psychology and cognitive science majors. So some of them may be a little bit outdated or may no longer be offered. So we recommend consulting with the specific program that you're applying for. Many of them have like course offerings listed on their website. And then if you're interested in a program that's not on our pre-approved list, we do have a major course review form that you can submit to see if new courses can be approved to count towards your major requirements. And our faculty are the ones who review those submissions. So once they review it, we'll let you know, usually within 7 to 10 days of your submission, whether your courses were approved or not. And we also have this global learning major course review guide here that can assist you in finding courses that are appropriate to submit for review. So you know what exactly to look for in courses abroad. Okay, so another program option that you might want to consider is our global internship for psychology and cognitive science majors. It's also called Psych 193I. This program is only offered in summer, and you do need to attend an info session in order to apply to the program. Previous placements have included Dublin, Ireland, and Cape Town, South Africa. There's currently not information on this website about this program just yet, but we are expected to have more information around November. So I'd recommend checking back in there if you're interested in this program. And if you have any other questions about the specifics of this program, I recommend reaching out to our field study coordinator, Carrie Walker, at the email listed on the slide. She's the expert when it comes to this program. Okay, so now I'm going to hand it back to Arturo to go over some program highlights.
Thank you so much. And just before I get into these program highlights, just going back to the internship, this week, actually in 2 days on October 23rd, you can actually find it on the Global Learning Events calendar. We will have a general info session for these global internships, not just for the psych and cog side, but also for sociology and all the others we offer. So if you have any particular questions, the lead advisor for these programs will be there so they can answer any pressing questions you all have in terms of programming. I know that right now the reasoning that we don't have a lot of information updated yet is I think they're just waiting to finalize an official locations. Historically, it's been in Dublin and in South Africa, which more than likely will still be the locations, but I think they're just waiting to finalize both of them before they make that information available to you all. So just a heads up on that. Okay. So program highlights. So essentially what we want to do next is just give you an idea of the types of programs that a lot of your fellow psych and cog sci majors have done so in the past and also are included for the most part in the documents that Julia just demonstrated, which is the pre-approved course list. One of those being in Australia, which is the University of Melbourne. Now, this is going to be an amazing opportunity where students can go from UCSC and enroll as regular students at the University of Melbourne and take courses offered in their catalog. Generally, of course, being psych and cog sci majors, you're probably going to favor the classes offered in those departments. But just know, in addition to that, you could mix and match other courses in their curriculum based on your interests, right? Because again, you can only take a certain amount of psych, cog sci classes while you're abroad. So you might find yourself having to take maybe a GE, some electives, just so that you can maintain your full-time status. Now, the cool thing about these opportunities, right, is that yes, you're still going to be taking classes like you were in Santa Cruz, but now you imagine yourself taking them, and once your classes end, you'll be at the heart of Melbourne in Australia, right? You're going to get to see these beautiful landscapes, this cityscape here. Melbourne, I've been lucky and privileged enough to be able to travel there a few years ago. It's probably one of the places that really looks and feels European for that matter. But of course, right, predominantly English speaking. They have a really nice and awesome cafe culture. If you like coffee, this is going to be an awesome location for you. And just know that because of where it's located in the world, the seasons will be flipped. So if you've ever been really curious about celebrating, the holidays or the winter break during summer, right, going to the beach instead of being indoors, maybe cold, Melbourne would be the place to do that. You're going to be at the beach in the middle of December, right? It's going to be super hot. It's their summer, so it's going to be pretty great to experience. The next one is going to be the University of Sydney. Still in Australia, just in a different part of Australia, just about a 3 hour flight from Melbourne. Of course, you see these cityscapes there. One of the most popular you've probably seen time and time again is the Sydney Opera House, right? Sydney is a great destination, another pretty big city in Australia, and the same thing as Melbourne, right? A fantastic location. You can take classes in psych and cog sci. Also, their curriculum is quite open. It's just going to be a matter of what type of vibe you're going for. Melbourne, a little more kind of grungy European type of vibe versus Sydney, where it's just a little more open in terms of just more sky, I would say, in terms of like not sky rises for that most part like Melbourne is. One thing I will share is that Melbourne, so we are having a Global Learning Opportunities Fair that we'll touch on a little later, but just know that the University of Melbourne will have a representative at the Global Learning Opportunities Fair. So if you're wanting to know about that university or just generally what the education system is like in Australia, there will be a great time to talk to them since we'll have a live recruiter there talking to you all. Okay. Then for the next one, it's going to be for if you just wanted to go a little further north, if you wanted to go to the University of British Columbia in Canada. Again, this is going to be a fantastic location for a student that likes the outdoors, that likes to go on hikes, just really get to experience what it's like to live in British Columbia. You'll get to take courses in their psych and cog sci departments in addition to all the other things we've already talked about, right? And again, these are going to be usually semester long programs. So roughly you're going to be planning to be there about 16 weeks or so. One thing to know is that these programs generally will be semester based. And what that means for you is that if you decide to go in the fall, you're roughly going to be starting sometime mid-August and ending sometime in mid-December, which works out well for our fall quarter. Now, if you're considering a spring semester, you will need to definitely meet with Julia just to see how feasible that would be because you will need to plan to be away both winter and spring quarters. So just want to make sure that there's enough coursework there in order to justify you being away that long, or if it's just generally a good idea based on your academics, right? Okay. The next one is Aarhus. Aarhus is located in Denmark. It's nestled in I would say the northwest part of the country, and it's a little far removed from Copenhagen, which is the capital of the country. But this is generally what people say when it comes to if you really want to have an authentic Scandinavian experience, go to Aarhus, right? You'll get to experience it's a really small city. If you're looking for a small town vibe, you get to know everyone there. You really get to connect and get to know what people are like. This is going to be a great opportunity. They offer tons of really great classes taught in English. And Aarhus is actually another partner that's going to be here for the Global Learning Opportunities Fair. So again, right, if you're interested in Aarhus or interested in Denmark in general, another great opportunity for you all to talk to folks from that part of the world. And then we'll go to the University of Sussex. This is located in the UK. They are also going to be here at the Global Learning Opportunities Fair, another great destination to look at. This is going to be fantastic. I would say maybe an hour or two away from London proper, just the train ride away. So again, you're going to be more so on the south side of that country. And great. You're gonna have access to the beach. You're gonna have access to a lot of great things that that city has to offer, in addition to its great education system and its university. And again, right, if you have a weekend, you can just take a train ride up to London to see what that's like and explore that part of the world and just keep going a little deeper. If you're a lover of football, just like me, this is going to be an amazing opportunity to maybe catch some Premiership League games while you're there, if that's something of interest to you. I would take advantage of that even if you don't like it, I would just say just experience it once so that you can see what it's like. And you don't ever have to go back if you don't like it. And I will go to the next one. So the next one is the Trinity College Dublin. They unfortunately will not be there with us at the Global Learning Opportunities Fair. But again, right, just another really amazing opportunity within that part of the world that is really notable. Trinity College is fantastic. They're really known for their library. I'm sure you've probably seen it sometimes in your TikTok or IG, whatever that might be, is that they have a really popular, famous library that you can look up later at your own time. And who knows, that might be the deciding factor as to why you want to go there. You just want to study in that library. But again, just know that they are reputable. They have amazing academics. They offer so much. And why not go to Dublin? This is going to be a great opportunity for you all. And then lastly, but not the only opportunities for you all, is the Psychology and Cognitive Science program out of the University of Padua. This one is a little different in that, yes, you will be a part of the University of Padua, just like the other locations you're going to be enrolling at in their classes. This, however, because it's such a niche program, you're generally only going to be able to take classes within their Psych and Cog Sci department, whereas the other ones allowed you to generally take other classes across departments. So we can always review that with you. We can look at the general courses that are available to see if that's enough for you in terms of the academic rigor, what's available, and enough to keep you at a full-time status. But again, if you're looking to go to Italy, amazing and beautiful location. If you're a fan of Shakespeare and you want to know what the Romeo and Juliet thing was like, this is definitely a great place to do that and geek out over that. They have some really cool locations based on that story as well. And with that, just wanted to just wrap up this section before I kind of hand it over to our amazing student alum, is just highlighting some of the other opportunities that your fellow colleagues and fellow students have gone to. For instance, there's also a psych and neuroscience program in the Netherlands. There's also the University of Barcelona. Probably one of the most popular areas in the world is Spain, outside of the UK, for example. So Barcelona, we have Complutense, University of Madrid, or if you're like, hey, I don't want to do Europe, I want to look at something specific different, right? Well, we also have programs in parts of Asia like Yonsei University in South Korea. We have Korea University, also Cape Town in South Africa. We have in Scotland, we have Edinburgh, and of course in New Zealand, we have the University of Auckland, just to name a few, right? So just know that you can always come and talk to us if you're interested in any of these opportunities, or if you wanted to explore even beyond that, we can always explore that alongside with you, and we'd be happy to support you along the way. And with that, I will go ahead and pass it on over to Julia so that they can continue us forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. River, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, perfect. I'll hand it over to you.
Well, yeah, my name is River, and I attended University of Padua last year, and I was there for 2 semesters. And it was really fun, and I got to travel to countries that were nearby, and I met friends at Padua, and I'd go visit their countries where they're from and everything. And it was really good to experience life on my own, far, far away from like family, because I had to rely on myself, and it really helped me to like understand myself more and the world more, and it expanded my horizons. And yeah, there was language barriers, cultural differences, and one of the things I would always say is like the hardest part for me was like grocery shopping in like a different country, because especially in a different language, like I it took me a while to figure out what the word for conditioner was. Um, but yeah, these are just some places that I went to in Italy or in different countries nearby, and If you go to the next slide. My least favorite part was leaving. The people I met in Padua felt like family to me, and towards the end, I really started to understand a lot more about the country I was in and like the culture and the traditions and how everything's been around for so long. And it gave me kind of a taste of what it would feel like even though it was only a year, it gave me a taste of like what it would feel like to like transition my life to living in Europe, which is something that like I'd kind of always dreamed about as like a kid. Um, which is now what I want to do for like graduate school after I finish here in Santa Cruz. But the city of Padua itself, it's only like 300K people or something like that, but the university makes up so much of it, and there's so many internationals there as well, and you can meet and bond with people from different parts of the world, and yeah. And then the one thing I wish I knew before coming or going is that like their school system is oriented very differently. There's no homework. You rarely have a midterm. There are no quizzes, sometimes attendance. And the entire grade for the class is basically it's based on the final test. And you can retake the final test again and again and again, but only twice per semester. So it's like, I don't know, it's gives and takes. But sometimes you have a final group project or an essay that helps out with it. And even though attendance isn't always mandatory, I learned very quickly that I had to go to every single class. Otherwise, it was getting hard to keep up with everything. And then they rely on a lot of self accountability when it comes to like academics and stuff like that, which is something that maybe we don't always have here because of like Canvas and homework assignments every other day or something like that. But it was a really good change, and I think it's helped me once I've come back now. And that's about it. That's all I got. But
All right, thank you, River. We really appreciate you being here and sharing your experience with everyone. And I'm glad you had
got
such an
me.
amazing time abroad.
Thank you.
Okay, so as Arturo mentioned earlier, there will be a Global Learning Opportunities Fair um, next Wednesday from 10 to 2 in the Quarry Plaza. Arturo, do you have anything to add about that?
Yeah, so hopefully you would have received an email or a message from Slug Success that was from me. And essentially, we just ask that you ahead of time try to RSVP. It's not required, but it does help us, provide some context and information. For instance, how to access our portal, which would then allow you to access all the programming and do some research on that side. So again, if you can, please do so. You can always sign in and check in on the day of as well. But just know that again, we'll be at the Quarry Plaza. We will have some really great partners. Like I mentioned, we'll have the University of Sussex. We'll also have the University of Bristol, University of Osaka, Melbourne, Aarhus. We'll also have some more of the US-based programs like the UC Center Sacramento, the UCDC in Washington program is well represented. So just know that we'll have a pretty robust set of folks there and staff waiting to just help and answer any questions that you might have, with hopefully that support enough that you want to make appointments with us and maybe continue the conversation outside of the fair so that we can continue supporting you. So again, just take a chance, come and visit us. It's only going to take a few minutes to chat with people. You can come and go. You don't have to be there for the entire time. We will also be hosting a food truck in that same area in Quarry Plaza. Have invited Pana food truck if you're interested in maybe trying some arepas, which again, depending on who you talk to, originated from Colombia or Venezuela. Again, don't want to get into that topic. It's a hot contested topic in that part of the world. But again, if you want to try it or if you have tried it before and you just want to have it again, you're more than welcome to come and eat, get some food, talk to us. Yeah, we'll hope to see you there.
All right, thank you. I'm planning to come by probably during my lunch break, so hopefully I'll see some of you there too.
Yeah, we'll be there.
All right, so here's just some of our contact information, both the psychology experiential learning website, which you can find global learning information on, as well as the global learning website and both of our email addresses if you want to contact us to discuss anything further. And with that, we'll just finish with the Q&A. So I know